Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Mac for Thursday, October 13th, 2022. My name is Herbie Allen, and today I'm going to be talking to you about perhaps the most awesome program for the Mac, and that would be the Mail app. This will be an interesting call because I've been fortified by cream soda, Dr. Pepper, and British chocolate in the last 15 minutes, so anyway, the program I'm going to talk about today is Mac Mail. And why do I call this the most awesome program for the Mac? Because it is the one program that I have heard devout Windows users say it's better on the Mac than it is on Windows. And I couldn't agree more, obviously, since I'm a Mac user. So why first of all I want to thank everybody who's connecting us and moderating us and all that jazz. We've got over on Zoom Travis and Joe, and over on the Mac side, Clubhouse side, I don't know what side I'm on anymore. We've got Chanel and Jared and Brad helping us out. So and those of you listening on the stream, we hope that you'll join us on either platform if you would like, if you have any questions. So I'm going to just briefly talk about Mac Mail, and then I'm going to go into it. This may not be a completely in-depth presentation because there's a lot to cover with Mail, but I can direct you to a couple of resources if you would like a very, very detailed thing on Mail. So a lot of the issues I have had with Windows Mail, no matter the program I use, and I've gone through two over the last few years when I was on Windows, Thunderbird, which is what I currently use when I'm on the Windows side, and Outlook. And Outlook has always driven me crazy because it's always been slow to respond. It has some very complicated interface things, and it's just way more complex than what I would like for an email program. And in the meanwhile, Mac Mail, I love it because it's very quick to respond. I also get some very nice features that I don't know, you definitely don't get in Thunderbird. I'm not sure if you get on Outlook, and you definitely do get this in iOS. You get mail threading, which is very easy to handle on the Mac, and so you get one of those high traffic mailing lists. Now, instead of all these unread messages, you just have a neat little thread if you want to view things that way, because you do have choices and you can just expand and collapse the thread and look at the messages. And so that can be really useful. Like, say if you're just skimming through your email and you want to come back to stuff later on. And if everybody on the Clubhouse side, you know what, I'm just going to do a mute. And there we go. Okay. Was wondering where that was. I'm listening to a baseball game as well in the background for full transparency here. And go Mariners. Yes, I'm in enemy territory right now. I'm in Houston. So I didn't know where that noise was coming from. I do apologize. So anyway, not only do you get that, you get all your inboxes in one thing. So again, if you're an iOS user, you may be familiar with this concept. If you've gone to your back button, then you see the all inboxes option. So imagine having that on your computer inbox. You also get some neat little features like Mail recognizes which account you're sending from. So for instance, when I'm sending to a UHD professor, UHD is the university I go to, when I type in an @UHD address for the first time, it automatically knows, okay, it should send from my UHD account. Same with my station email. If I send to certain people either with that domain or I've pointed it to go to that account for a certain address, it automatically remembers that for future reference. And I think that is really cool and really a time saver. And I do want to mention that you do have choices with these things. There are ways to disable that, and there's always ways to make changes, so you're not stuck with it being from a certain address, or you're not stuck with threads if you don't like that. If you want everything all in one shot, you don't have to use all inboxes. But these are just some of the features that I really find useful and a time saver with Mac Mail, because I don't have to. I like the fact that I can view everything all in one glob and not have to go from account to account and go, okay, what's in here? Now what's in here? And if you do want to go from account to account, there actually is a much easier way to do that on the Mac than on Windows too, for at least your inboxes. You can also do some other things. There are ways to set up rules for mail, but that only goes from Mac to Mac. That is limited. And so if you have a third-party account like Gmail, you might be preferred to do message rules on it, so that way they'll be applied universally. Attachments is also a breeze for sending, but the one thing I will give Outlook credit for is I do love the fact that they use the Mac method for sending attachments. You actually can do the same thing on there. See, I will be nice to Windows. And that's simply pasting in the attachment. But with Outlook, you can also paste the attachment, an attachment you receive, into a folder. And that is something I do wish the Mac could do. Now, you can still save attachments, and I will talk about that. But I will be fair to Outlook. And honestly, I've not really used Outlook on the Mac, because I just don't. So I really can't say for sure on the Outlook for Mac version if you can do the same thing or not. So now some differences between Mac Mail and iOS Mail, and then we're going to go into the demo. First of all, it's really interesting. For whatever reason, my university, for instance, like, it uses Exchange Mail. And they've disabled it for mobile devices, but not for my the Mac Mail program. And so I find that interesting that I can still have an iOS look and feel for mail for my UHD, at least on the computer, but not on the phone. Another difference, computer stop. Let's put that on mute. Another difference, and those of you who are right now listening to us on Zoom will undoubtedly appreciate what I'm going to talk about here. The way the Mac Mail behaves is very much like if you were to open the ACB community daily emails on your Mac, it would read like it would on Windows. If you were to open with Mac Mail, you can navigate by headings and links. It's not the like iOS Mail where every date is a heading. And I think that has something to do with Siri, by the way, and it trying to read each date as a potential event that you can add into your calendar. Siri does do that a little bit on the Mac, and I won't fully get into that because you kind of have to just find it. It's at the top, it'll say something like event found or whatever. So it's not as intrusive as it is on iOS. And so that means that emails like the ACB community emails are going to display normally like what you would expect. At least so on my Intel Mac. I should do the caveat here that I do not have an M1 Mac, so I cannot speak to any behavior differences, but if Bradford's on stage and he might choose to comment later on if there's any differences with the M1 Macs. So, excuse me. Why don't we, first of all, get VoiceOver into the loop here. And, oops, I was going to make a couple of changes to my VoiceOver real quick. I do apologize.
Rate 60%. 55%.
So I'm going to show you a quick thing that I'm doing here with VoiceOver real quick, and that is the quick things with VoiceOver, and that is with VO control.
Closing.
VO command control left and right arrows.
Rate 55%. Pitch 45. Volume 100%.
No, I want.
Intonation 50. Braille table English unified. Voice Siri voice 4. Siri voice. Siri.
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 Siri. Siri. Rishi.
Nikki. Moira. Moira.
Kathy.
Karen. Karen.
Julia Aisley.
Fiona.
Daniel. Danieling. Bruce English.
Ava. English.
All right, here we
Closing.
go. Happy
Voice
life,
menu.
happy wife, so they say, and my wife would be happy if she doesn't have to hear her own voice. I mean, the Siri voice. She says it's not her, but I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to try this one on for you all today and see how well it works.
On. Doc.
All right, thank you.
Mail. 8 new items. Open. 2 of 38.
So notice it's saying mail, 8 new items, open. So that tells me that my mail is open. I thought I closed it, but I did not. By the way, it makes the same incoming sound that you hear on iOS. And you can
Messages,
change
2
it.
new items. Zumas. Safari. Mail. 8 new. Mail. 8.
Okay, let's go over to mail and let's just take a quick look and see just what to expect
CB
here.
community events.
If you
Thursday,
have, okay,
schedule.
would you shut
All inboxes.
up? Thank you. VoiceOver likes to be a bit chatty here.
Hello, friends. Close. All.
Okay, so I was actually in a message, so I'm going to do
messages
an
unread.
option
Cindy
up.
Hollis, first
arrow.
hosting class for Mac users, 1606. Hello, Mac host training team. I have our first 2 trainees ready to go and
All right, that looks very important. I will come back to that a little bit later on. I don't know if I can have those emails displayed publicly. So.
unread. Juice plus plus insights. Leafy greens. Juice plus plus insights. Juice plus plus live.
I don't care about leafy greens. I'm just going to delete this message, and I can do that by simply hitting the backwards delete
4 message conversation.
or backspace.
Collapsed. Unread. Bradford, Dave, E.T. and Bill. Syncing messages across devices. 1552.
So this is one of those
Make sure
threads.
you are running the most recent update of iOS and macOS on all of your devices. That will be a problem, because your iPhone 6 cannot run the current version of iOS. Depending on which Mac Mini you have, that could be a problem with the Mini as well. Brad, on October
Okay, so I'm hitting the control key to shut VoiceOver up. So notice what it did there is it actually read to me the most recent message, so I could actually read it without actually having to open it. If I want to explore this thread more, I can do one of two things. I can open the thread completely by hitting enter,
message. Make sure you are running the most recent
and then I can
update of iOS and
uninteract,
macOS.
and then I can uninteract and go find the thread that way, but that is a little bit complex. And so I'm going to show you a very simple way to navigate a thread. So let's do a Command W.
Close. All
That closes a message,
inboxes
or in this case, a
1065
thread.
messages. 6 unread. Window.
Okay,
Messages table.
thank you. This thing does like to be a bit chatty, and I think it's more the voice than anything else. So I'm going to now just simply right arrow to expand the thread.
Row 2 expanded. Bradford Snyder, 1552.
And I can down arrow once.
Dave Carlson, 1428. Bill, no, what you do is to press ET via Mac Visionaries, 1350. Not system
And so I'm just looking through this thread that is in the list.
preferences.
And by the way, you can do this
Open
on
the Messages
iOS
app.
too.
For
You
message
simply
conversation.
swipe down on a thread until you get to expand, and then you double tap, and it'll react the same way that what I'm doing on the Mac. The Mac is a little bit easier. The thing I don't like about threads is it does not isolate the column. So if you go past the thread, it's going to go to the continue on with your normal messages.
Unread.
And
4 message conversation.
I can actually go in the
Bradford
thread.
Dave ET via Mac
You know
Visionaries.
what? I don't like this message. I'm just going to delete it.
Bill Gallick.
So I've deleted a single message out of the thread, or if I want to delete the entire thread,
3 message conversation.
I'm going to left arrow once, and then I'm just going to hit the delete key.
Unread. Cindy Hollis.
And there you go. I've now just deleted 4 messages, or in this case, 3 messages, all at once from a mailing list. And yeah, if you want to know how could this come in handy, well, the Bits mailing list the other week on a Mac discussion thing, interestingly enough, which I did contribute to, but had 62 messages, and it was very nice to have that all in one thread, let me tell you, because then I could just delete them or read them in order, because the other advantage with a thread is you don't have to go finding, all the other messages in between. All right.
Unread. Restaurant.com. $4 deals are going. 15.
Oops,
Unread.
that's nice.
Nick Baker. RE. Show tonight. 1548.
All right.
Thank you, Herbie. I gladly appreciate that. Original message from.
I'm
message
glad
content.
you do. And you know what? I need to respond to
Full
you
area.
because I'm nice. So how do I respond to a message? Well, that's actually Command R. Same as Control R
Reply.
on other
Regarding.
programs.
Show tonight. Window. No. Problem. Exclamation
Now, what's really interesting here is the way we send a message. So first of all, I'm just going to,
mark.
you know what? I'll show you some of the other stuff in a new message thing. But again, I've got a simple reply field here, and if I want to read the original messages, I can just arrow down.
New line. Quote level 1. On October 3rd. New line. Thank you, Herbie. New line. New line. New line. Original from Herbie Allen Mailto. Sent.
Okay,
Thursday,
and
October
see,
13th.
again, I've got a normal mail dialogue that what you would
Sent.
expect to see
Thursday,
on any
October
mail
13th,
program. I'm now going to
2000.
do our send command. I do apologize, folks. I'm not trying to talk over voiceover. It just does not want to stop talking, and neither do I, so we have something in common. I'm going to do a Command Shift D for deliver. So you would expect it to be Command S. No, what that will do is save the draft. But Command Shift D to deliver.
Sent. Thank you, Herbie. I gladly appreciate.
And it didn't make the
Close.
whooshing sound, and I don't have mail piped in here anyway, but normally it makes the same whooshing sound that you hear on the iOS when you send a message. And now that message is read, too. All
Unread.
right.
Cindy Hollis. First hosting. Unread. Unread. Nancy Madeline. Unread. Tara Andringa. Paid virtual panel 10/19.
Okay, hey, what if I think Chanel might be interested in this PAVE email? Well,
Forward. FW.
all I have to do is
D.
a Command
Virtual
Shift
panel.
F. I don't even have to open the message, and then I could type in Chanel's name,
Chris Chanel Marie Allen. Janellum. Allen.
and I just hit enter.
Chanel. Selection.
Now,
Request.
which
Index
account is it
edit.
going to send from? Let's find out.
Photo browser group. Emoji and symbol. Photo embedded Chanel Marie Allen attached to add
So
contact.
I'm just going to hit tab, actually, from
the
here.
Chanel
So
Marie
I'm
Allen
gonna,
to add contacts button.
I can add contacts from here. It's a lot easier just to type in the person's name rather than browsing contacts. It can be done, though.
CC edit text. CC add contacts button.
You've got your CC.
Forwarded. Paid virtual panel 10/19 The Road to AVs. Testing and simulation. Content selected. Subject. Edit text.
This is the subject.
Herbie Allen Herbie at 986pemex.com.
I don't want it to come from that account, actually. So I'm just going to simply down arrow.
Menu Herbert Allen H4 at Gator Herbert Allen Management Herbie Allen Mac Training hide my email Herbert Allen Herbie .Allen at iCloud.com Herbie Allen CHM Herbie Allen Herbie .Allen at gmail.com.
Yeah, I have that many email addresses. You can appreciate why I love the all inboxes feature. And by the way, the simplest way to know where a message is coming to, which email account, if you have multiple ones, you can do the reply and shift tab to the from. So I just hit down arrow and then I hit enter on the way I wanted to have it go.
None. Signature pop-up button.
I can have it do no signature, or if I want
Menu
to
check
use
mark.
one of my built-in signatures.
Edit signatures. Check mark. None. Edit signatures. None.
But you know what?
I can forward it message.
And then I can
from
do a Command
Tara
Shift D.
Andringa.
You know what? I
Emails
just
at the
realized I think Chanel
Contain
gets these
ORG.
emails too, so I've changed my mind. I'm going to close out of this with Command W.
Close. In dialog. Alert. Don't save button. Don't save button.
Now it's asking me if I want to save what I just did. I do not.
Messages table.
Okay, so what else can I do in Mac
Unread.
Mail?
Nancy Matalis via ACLists.org. Regarding
You know what? I'll show you
Beware
something else
part
that's
of the
really interesting, and let's see if I
original
can
U
get
of
this to
Maine Center
work.
on
I should
Aging
have practiced.
Take back drug. Close. Image. Beware part of the original U of Maine Center on Aging. Take unsubscribe button.
So
This message is from a mailing list.
I've got this message is from a mailing list. Unsubscribe.
Close. Image.
Let's close that. So this is something that the mail itself gives you. I don't think that's actually part of the message itself. And what if I want to email the person who sent the email privately?
Message header.
And not on the
Beware part
list.
of message headers group.
So I can interact with the
In
message
message
headers.
15, 20 text. Nancy Matalis via ACLists.org. New line.
And I can
Regarding
see who
ACB diet.
sent the message.
Attachment. Image. Details button. Details button.
And I can get details.
Hide. Hide. Attachment. 15. Text. Nancy. In text.
All right.
Nancy Matalis via ACLists.org.
But what's really nice is I can interact with this text thing, and now I have the actual email address, and I can do a VO option shift left arrow.
If there ever comes a day when we can't be together.
Okay.
Message headers group.
I used to be
In
able
that
to copy and
text,
paste
in
this.
text.
Let's-
We. Out
Okay,
of message
you're
headers
going to be
group.
that way. All right. There's other ways too. A lot of emails, a lot of addresses will show up as links and stuff like that. But we can go into more details on that in a little bit here.
We were part of the original U of Maine
But-
Center on October 13th. First link.
This one is a forward, and so
Peter
it's,
Nancy Matalis.
there we go.
Matalis. The reason someone's Nancy. We wear part of
Okay.
the clothes. All.
So I should have found a better email address.
1006 sugar. ACB.
So let's get rid of that. Okay.
Diabetics.
So what if I want to send a new message? Well, all I have to do is Command N.
New message. New message. Window.
And I can send it to, we'll pick on Brad for just a minute.
Bradford Snyder. WBSJ.
And then I can hit
Selection
enter.
replace.
So I just typed in Brad and that came with him. If I had multiple Brads or multiple email addresses for Brad, I could just down arrow on the name. I know I talked about that in messages as well. And voiceover, you're not talking to me.
CC edit. CC.
Thank you.
CC add subject edit text. Herbie.allen@gmail.com. Pop
All right, and it's going to come from my Gmail. You know what? I just realized it's not Brad I need to talk to. It's my
CC to
instructor.
add contacts. Embedded Brad.
So let's see if I can.
Lopez Nancy. Lopez N. At selection.
All
replaced.
right, so now I'm just going
Edit.
to tab.
To CC subject at Herbert Allen H4 at gator.uhd.
And see, it automatically recognized that that's the account it should send to her from. I didn't even have to do a thing. I just noticed it in passing. So that's what I'm talking about by automatic account recognition. So, all right, I
Close.
don't actually
Dialog
need to
alert.
email
Can't-
either
don't
of
say-
them.
Messages.
But
Tape.
I
Oh,
wanted to just
sugar.
show you in real time how that works. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's take a look at just some of our overall settings. And let's see. I'm just going to check.
October 13th 4/22.
Oh wow. Okay. So I will pause for questions in a little bit here. I'm just going to take you through some of the. Oh, what?
Just to let you know, I will have to leave in about 20 minutes.
PM.
Right. Did you go ahead and make Brad a moderator?
I will
if you've
be
not already
here.
Done so.
I'll make
Okay.
Brad the moderator since this is an ACB. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
So
be
we'll
here.
have. Yeah, I know you will. I wasn't worried about you. Just technically, I have to make sure. I have to at least have an ACB host as a moderator when we're having an ACB event. So even though you are a moderator, I still technically have to do that. So, that is why. And somebody is unmuted, just so you know. All right. And I can always do mute all if I have to. So I
Loopback.
guess I
Club
will.
deck. Club deck. Club deck. Web content. Heading level 1.
So give me
End of
just
the
a
list.
second here, because
Mute everyone. Cancel. Okay. Club deck.
there we go. All
Mail.
right.
All
So
inboxes.
I have my
1059
volume enhancer on
messages.
too, so right now I'm hearing everything in painful detail because, like I said, you're competing with a baseball game. I'm going to go to my preferences, and again, this is very commonplace, your command comma.
Preferences. General window. Mail.
So
Default,
I'm not
email,
going to go
a
through
reader.
everything on here, just the things that I think are the most important, and the rest you can explore by yourself.
Check for new messages. Automatically. Check for new messages. Pop-up button.
So you can adjust how it checks for new messages.
Menu every minute. Every 5 minutes. Every 15. Every 30. Every hour. Manually. Check mark. Automatically.
And I like mine automatically, but you can just arrow down through the options.
New messages sound.
And then you can via right.
New messages sound. New messages sound. Pop-up button.
You can change the new messages sound here. You are limited to the built-in sound effects, though. There are ways to change them, but that's a whole nother.
Play sounds for other
call.
mail actions. Checked. Checkbox. Duck unread count. Inbox only. Duck unread count. Pop-up button. New message notifications. Inbox only. New message notifications. Pop-up.
So this can really depend on your preferences. I just like to get new messages alerts for the inbox only, but you can adjust it for like if other folders in your mail receive new messages.
Downloads folder. Downloads. Downloads folder.
We
Pop-up.
do need to talk
button.
about attachments, which I will do in a little bit.
Remove unedited downloads. After message is deleted. Remove archive or delete muted messages unchecked. Check automatically try sending later if outgoing server is unavailable. Checked. Checkbox. Prefer opening messages in split view when in full screen. Unchecked. Check when searching all mailboxes. Include results from. Trash. Checked. Checkbox. Junk. Checked. Encrypted messages. Checked. Help button. Help button.
So that's it for general.
Toolbar. Default toolbar.
Okay, let's
In
go
toolbar.
over to
Accounts button.
accounts. So I
Accounts
interacted with the
selected.
toolbar at the top of the page, and then I hit VO space, and we're going to
Alert
uninteract
tool.
with that.
Internet accounts table. Eyeglass.
And so here, there's two ways you can add mail accounts, from here or from internet accounts. Chanel, if I can just pick on you for a second, I forget, which way do you recommend people do?
I just do it directly from the Mail app, but it doesn't matter. If you're already in there, you might as well add the accounts. You do have to go, though, to System Preferences to remove the account, but if you attempt to remove it in Mail, Mail will then direct you to go to System Preferences, and it will even open it for you.
Yes. That has been my experience too. So I have added accounts from both ways in the distant past, and nothing is coming at me saying, "Oh, one way is truly better than the other." So there you go.
Account information selected tab 1 of 3.
And then you can get account information for the selected account.
Mailbox behaviors tab 2 of 3. Server settings tab 3 of 3.
And I'm not gonna go through every painstaking detail on here. I'm just showing you where you can find things.
Mail toolbar internet.
But I will
accounts,
mention,
table.
if you want a
iCloud and
more
app.
in-depth thing on mail, if you go on YouTube and look for the iBug Today channel, in there you will find various playlists, including the Mac training course. And in there you will find a 2-part series on mail that Chanel does. The first one takes you really through like all the settings, and the second one takes you more.
Actually, if I may correct you on that,
Go
no,
ahead.
we stopped doing that a couple classes ago. The first one is more on just the nuts and bolts of reading mail, replying. We might touch on settings in the end, but it's more the app layout and doing various tasks in mail. The second one is all about settings.
All right, guys, I've been through so many classes. Not as a student. That sounds wrong. Excuse me, but I can't keep track anymore. So either way, and they're all labeled anyway. So that will give you a lot more detail than what I'm giving you. So it's well worth
Toolbar
looking
internet
at
toolbar.
that.
In
Okay, what
toolbar,
else do
junk
I want
mail,
to show
fonts
you?
and color viewing composing fonts and colors viewing button composing button.
I do want
Viewing
to take
button.
a quick look at
View out of
viewing.
list preview. 4 lines. List preview.
List
Pop-up
preview,
button.
you can adjust it to whatever you want, but we have found that really with voiceover, it does not make a difference. So
Move discarded messages into.
What does make a difference is that use column layout
Yes.
is unchecked. That will let you hear the preview. If it is checked, you will not hear the preview.
But that
now
I
I
think
should
is
make
just
sure
in the view menu. I don't think
That
that's
is
in here.
correct.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that, but yeah, that's in a totally different view menu from this one.
Trash. Move discarded messages into. Pop-up
I
button.
like mine moved into the trash folder, but you can have it moved to archive or
Show message
wherever.
headers. Default. Show message headers. Pop-up button. Display unread messages with bold font. Unchecked. Use smart addresses. Checked. Checkbox.
I think that's the thing I was talking about earlier, using the smart addresses where it will automatically go from, detect the proper account. So I believe if you do not like that feature, this is where you would disable the smart addresses.
Turn this off to always display names and addresses.
But maybe it's something different.
Use dark backgrounds for messages.
It's not. It's a feature I
Yeah,
like.
that's something different.
Okay.
View conversation. Highlight messages with color when not view conversations. Use dark background. View hot Dodger blue 3. Use the include mark all messages as read when opening a conversation. Checked. Checkbox.
Mark all messages as read when opening a conversation. I personally
16:30.
like that, but
Include related messages. Checked. Checkbox.
Okay.
Show most recent message at the top. Checked. Checkbox.
okay. How do you want your messages displayed? I have mine set to showing most recent message at the top,
Help button. Help button. Toolbar.
and that's it for that.
Into composing but signature rules button.
You can do signatures, composing, of course, rules,
Extensions. Privacy button.
privacy.
Out of mail privacy protection. Protect mail activity. Checked. Checkbox. Text. Mail.
And I'm not really going to go into that one. Okay.
Close.
So we get out of this with Command W. Now I just want to show you a couple things in the menus that I think are very important.
Menu bar. Apple. Mail. File.
We're going to come back to the File menu.
View.
All right. This is the View menu that we were talking about a minute ago with the column layout.
View menu. Show tab bar. Show all tabs. Customize touch bar ellipsis. Sort by submenu. Filter submenu. Sort by submenu.
So here's your sort by submenu. Hello, self. Okay. And I see that I'm really off to the left a little bit too. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit more center now.
Filter, sort by, submenu.
So you can sort by various methods here.
Filter, submenu.
And you can just right arrow to the submenu.
Filter, submenu. Include mail. Enable message filter command. L.
I don't use the message filters really,
View,
but
menu,
you can play
filter,
with that.
use column layout.
Use column layout. You want to make sure this is unchecked. This is not the same as your column view, but this is something that's really going to ensure that you'll have a much better experience with reading and interacting with your mail if you just uncheck this.
Show side preview. Check mark, show date and time. Check mark, show to CC label. Show message size. Show contact photo. Highlight conversations. Check mark, organize by conversation. Expand all conversations. Collapse all conversations. CC address field. BCC address field command option. B. Bravo. Reply to address field command option. R. Message submenu.
So what I'm just showing you here is these are various things you can have enabled or disabled depending on your preferences. If you want to see message size or contact photos or don't want to, it's all this in the view menu that you
Hide
would
related messages.
adjust.
Message submenu. All headers dimmed. Show with light background. All raw source dimmed command option.
And we're not going to
View.
go into all that.
Mailbox menu.
Okay.
Message menu. Mailbox.
Mailbox. This can be an important one if you ever have syncing issues. This is where I will tell people to go check to make sure things are working.
Take all accounts online. Dimmed.
So take all accounts online.
Take all accounts offline.
If I want them all offline because I don't want them sending and receiving for whatever reason.
Get all new mail command shift N. Synchronize all accounts.
Synchronize all accounts. So I mainly have this issue with Exchange servers and that's because of the 90-day password reset that screws things up majorly. It can lose its syncing, so usually I do this for an individual account, but because I'm in all inboxes, it's going to do everything right here for all accounts.
Mark all messages as read. Online status submenu. Get new mail submenu. Synchronize submenu. Erase deleted items submenu. Erase junk mail command option. J. New mailbox ellipsis. New smart mailbox ellipsis. Edit smart mailbox. Duplicate smart mail. New smart mailbox folder ellipsis. Rename mailbox ellipsis. Dimmed. Delete mailbox. Export mailbox. Go to favorite mailbox. Move to favorite mailbox. Go to previous mailbox command.
So you can have favorite mailboxes and
Go to
stuff
next
like
rebuild.
that.
Take all accounts online.
And
Dimmed.
we're
Next
done
close.
with that. The idea, again, is to show you just a lot of the customizable things you can do with Mac Mail. If you want to get to all inboxes, by the way, a neat little trick
All inboxes.
is Command and the number 1. That automatically takes you to all inboxes. So if you ever close out your mail window or anything like that, you can do that. And also, another thing that you need to know, messages do have a context
all
menu.
inboxes. Bone sugar.
You do
ACB
sometimes have to
edit.
do the Command 1 twice, by the way. So if I just do a VO Shift M on this message,
Menu. Open. Send again. Reply. Reply all. Forward. Forward as attachment. Redirect. Mark as unread. Move to junk. Mute. Delete. Mail is not responding.
and it'll do that.
Flag.
We're going to have a
Interactive.
couple more things.
Archive. Move to submenu. Copy to submenu. Apply rules. Open. Messages.
And there you go.
Tape.
So you have a context menu with the messages. All right, now
Bone Union
let's
Edge
see
Park. Chanel Marie out.
attachments.
Top texted. Cindy Hollett. ACB Cooks. 2 message conversation. Collapsed. ACB Cooks. Herbie's. Sheila. Here's the beef recipe.
Okay, so another cool thing with the Mac Mail is we can type in the person's name and usually it'll come up with a result. So in this case, I typed in SH for Sheila, and she has a recipe document that I want. So I'm
Here's the
going to
beef
open
recipe.
this message.
Recipe document. Her. Club deck.
So, what do I
Club deck.
do
Mail.
with this?
Oh,
Well, I've
here's the
actually got
beef
several
recipe
options
document.
with attachments.
Allen at
Okay, thank you. If I don't want to bother interacting and all that, I can actually just simply go to my file menu. So I do VOM,
menu bar. Apple.
and then
Edit view. Edit.
I
file.
hit
File.
F for file. And it said Apple, and I was just checking, but yeah, it does go to the file menu. And then if I go
Five.
down,
New viewer. Open mess. Close. Save as ellipsis. Command Shift S.
so I can save the
Sierra.
message and all that if I want
Attach
to.
files. Ellipsis. Save attachments. Ellipsis.
Save attachments. So this is one way of saving attachments.
Insert from. Save.
And then if I just hit enter on that,
Save attachments. In dialog. Save. Here's the beef recipe document. Docs. Content selected.
so
Save as
this
text.
is a
Text.
feature I will tell you I only use when there's multiple attachments in an email and I don't want to save every single one. and I want to save them all at once. So like, for instance, when I first got signed up with Sheila's Recipe Swap, she gave me all her documents and they were all in one email. So it was a lot easier to use this particular method. So that is one way. And then this is your typical save dialog here.
Thank you all for sending.
And the other way I can do the attachment, and this gives me some different options.
Thank you all for sending me your in-text.
If I interact with the message.
Space. Out of Sheila FCB.
Actually, I
President
don't have
Geo-
to interact. I
Here's
should
the
be
beef
able to
recipe
go.
document.
There we go. Okay,
Attachment.
so I did a VON to finally get to the bottom of the email. Sometimes it got out of focus there, so I had to VO right. So now I'm actually on the document. I can see the attachment. If I bring up my context menu.
Menu. Open attachment.
So now I can just open the attachment without saving it.
Open with submenu.
I can tell it what program to open with.
Quick look attachment. Save attachment ellipsis. Save to downloads folder.
Or I can even save it to the downloads folder. So if I don't want to give it a specific location.
Share submenu. Copy. Speech submenu. Open attachment.
Or I can copy the attachment.
Close.
Okay, that is pretty nifty, isn't it?
Close.
Now, do I have anything with audio attachments? I lost
All
my...
inboxes. VIPs. All
Because
inboxes.
they
All inbox.
react differently. Oh, by the
Boxes.
way, VIPs, that's another thing you can get on here too. Okay. Really?
Nick Baker. Ari.
Thank you.
Show tonight. Unread. Jared Reimer. Listeners of 900. Nick Baker. Emailing. 2022 MMC promo.
Perfect,
Emailing.
perfect. So here's
Okay,
something that
Herbie.
you do need to
Here's what
know. If...
I'd like to happen on this
Yes,
promo.
okay. Thank you. Something you do need to know with audio attachments, it treats them a little bit differently. You still have that file menu option, but otherwise, this is where you're going to make use of your tab key. After you open the message,
Audio controls. Audio playback.
you're going to see an audio controls,
Play button.
and then
Audio
you've got a play button.
controls.
If I was to VO space on that play button, it would play the file. Or if I want to save the attachment, I bring up my context menu again with VO Shift M.
Menu. Open it. Open with. Quick look at save attachment ellipsis.
And I get
Play.
my save attachment dialog. So you need to
Close.
know that with an audio attachment, it's different than a text attachment. All right, last thing I just want to show you real quick. How do I get to my inbox view? So if I do a VOJ,
In toolbar. 8 email boxes table. All in.
and now I'm in my inboxes table. So remember that all inboxes. Well, what if I want to look at a specific account? I can
VIPs. Collab. All
simply
inboxes for in all inbox.
What?
All inboxes.
You're
Out
gonna
of
be that
all VIPs. All inboxes for unread.
So
Collapse.
if I expand it with VO space,
Row 2 expanded. Herbie.Allen. 986. Exchange. iCloud.
all right, and I can now see the individual inboxes, and then I can just VOJ to it. So,
Messages empty table.
and there's nothing in here. Okay, fine. I'll just go back to
All
my all
inboxes.
inboxes.
Nick Baker.
And that is your overall view of attachments with things with mail. One last thing though, what if I want to send an attachment? Oh, this is so my favorite.
New message. New
I'm gonna
message. Window.
send
2. Edit text.
Chanel
delete.
recipe.
Selection. 2. C. Subject. Edit text. Herbie
Because I
Allen 9.
can.
Signature. Edit text.
So I can go through the menus and add an attachment, and I think you can even do Command I and get to the attachment thing that way. But there's a much
Mail.
easier
Finder.
way.
Open.
I'm gonna go to my
148.
Finder.
Finder. Dropbox.
In my case, it's set to Dropbox,
Presenters. Person. List.
and then
Recipe swap.
I'm gonna go to my
5
recipe
on
swap.
appetizer recipe swap document.
I
Apple
think
recipe. Birthday party 2022 recipes. Bountiful hot bread recipe. Breakfast candy. Casserole. Cheesy chicken recipe. Chinese chocolate recipes document.
Chanel might want chocolate recipes. There we go. I'm going to copy this with Command C.
Copy chocolate recipe. Mail. 4 new. Mail.
And then I'm going to go over here with and into my email, and then I'm just going to do a Command V.
Paste. Chocolate recipes document. Docs attached image.
And see it's saying document to recipe.docs attached image, and then all I have to do
Send.
is
All
send.
inbox.
And I've sent her
Says
an email with an
1060
attachment.
message.
It is that easy. It doesn't get any easier than that. You just literally paste in there. That also works on messages too. I think I mentioned that. And so why don't we pause now and see if we have any questions? And
Finder.
I'm going
Club deck.
to
Loopback.
first of all, disable
On.
voiceover. There we go. All right, so let's start over in Clubhouse.
don't see any.
All right. How about over on the Zoom side?
I'm not seeing any here.
All right. So then, in that case, Brad or Chanel, did you guys have any additional comments on mail you would like to make?
No, you're covering it pretty good. Just like you, I like the mail. It's snappy. It's fast. I didn't like it at first when I started using the Mac, but after a few years, I got used to it. And now you're right. When I'm over on the Windows side, the Outlook drives me crazy because it's so slow. I've never tried it on the Mac. I probably should just to see how it is, but the Mac Mail is so smooth. I'm just very pleased with it.
Definitely. All right. So let's see. I'm just trying to think. And by the way, for those of you in the audience, if you do have any questions, definitely feel free to raise your hand and come on stage. But yeah, and it's adding mail accounts is again like adding mail on the phone, where a lot of times it'll find the account information, so you don't even have to do anything. So that's one of the perks you get to with the mail on the Mac. Though I think, to be fair, most mail accounts are good about that type of thing now. I will say, like, for instance, it was a chore adding in my station email address, and it was a very interesting experience having to deal with the tables and adding in the correct outgoing mail server and all that. I'm guessing, though, that the majority of you are probably not going to have to deal with that, especially if you're using the big providers like your Gmails, your Comcast, your Yahoo's, if anybody uses that. Your iCloud definitely is going to be a piece of cake. AOL's, you'll see a lot of those actually preset. And even the other accounts, sometimes it will still configure. So before I get into announcements, any questions on that? Any questions on mail in general? Or does anybody have any Mac questions in general they would like to ask? I will entertain those now.
So far, none here.
All right. And how about... All right, I'm hearing some music there.
There's a question in the chat from Dave Leo Baker asking what voice you were using.
All right. Great question. I was using the Ava voice. And by the way, Reimer, I don't know if you changed your settings, but you are not in stereo.
I did not.
So yeah, I used the Ava voice for the there we go. So yeah, I use the Ava voice for my presentation today. Normally I use the Siri voice but I was getting complaints that people don't like it, so I decided I'd try something different to see if that works.
The nerve of them.
What was that?
You said complaints, the nerve of them.
I know. I don't know what they're, but you know how it goes. All right. So first of all, guys, we are not done with the Mac on ACB tonight. No siree, because you get a couple hours break, make the most of it, grab your dinner, get your coffee, and then come back to the Bits Zoom link that is provided in your community email, or look for us over on the ACB Clubhouse if you prefer that method, as we're going to have Mac Bites with Bits. And hey, since our facilitator is actually here with us, why don't I give him the honors of telling you all what to expect tonight. Take it away, Brad.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure it's on Clubhouse. I think it's just on Zoom.
Oh no,
But
you're right. It's the
anyhow,
Tech Power Hour that's over on Clubhouse.
yeah. My
That would be embarrassing because I'm the one connecting it. So if I connect the
exactly.
wrong thing,
Connect the wrong thing. Yeah. Well, there's no Clubhouse link for the Mac Bytes. But anyway, you connect us with Mac Power Hour. That'd be interesting. Anyway, my co-host tonight is Pete Lane of the Blind Abilities podcast. Pete has a nice demo he's put together on using the Messages app on the Mac. So join us and we'll catch us up on Mac news. There's not a whole lot to talk about there, but we'll mention that and then we'll move into the demo and then we'll have questions from attendees.
all right.
Join
So
us. We'd love to have you.
yes, we would. All right. So I'll be actually probably in two places at once. You'll find me over there as well as on the Tech Power Hour. That is the one I am connecting. Is the Tech Power Hour? Okay, just as long as I connect the right thing, that would be a good thing. Boy, if you come on the Clubhouse and you hear the wrong thing. No, and the Tech Power Hour is hosted by none other than Belinda Collins, and we're going to be answering your tech related questions on anything: Windows, Mac, iOS. I think we have Android covered. I don't remember, but come and ask anyway. And also, let's see. Next Thursday we will have a regular club. And just a general chit chat, discussion, Q&A, the whole 9 yards. And if people don't have questions, and if they're doing good, I'll just start playing what Darcy's podcast, and or we'll think of something. The following week, so let's go into what else I'm doing. Next Wednesday, I'm going to be talking on a Bits presentation, which is going to be open to the community at large, on the Clubhouse app for the iOS. And so it occurred to me, well, if I'm going to talk about Clubhouse on Bits, why didn't I at least do my other favorite subject, and that is Club Deck for the Mac call. Now, the nice thing about this demo is most of it is actually going to apply to Windows users as well, because it uses the same setup. There's just some extra goodies you do not get on the Windows side. You don't get the web rotor, for instance. It's a little bit tricky if you're moderating, and I'm going to play with that just to see if they've made any changes. But otherwise, interface wise, it's actually the same. So Windows users will actually be able to benefit from that demo in a couple weeks right here on this Mac Club. And so we'll talk about Club Deck. Now, you will still, if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, you will still benefit from the Clubhouse demo, because you do actually need Clubhouse to get set up. There is no way around that. And it'll familiarize you also just with some of the terminology that I'll be talking about either way. So I do highly encourage you to come to both. And then the following Tuesday, which I still need to submit my thing, and I will do that today using, of course, the Mac Mail app, is my Apple Bytes. And I'm actually going to take a little bit of an interesting excursion for us and do a couple of third-party apps that people might find useful. One of them being Bard Mobile for iOS, because they've made some very significant changes, and I've seen that actually throw people off, and even though the changes were supposed to make things simpler. So I thought it'd be a good idea to just give people a run-through of the Bard app. Now here's an interesting question for all my M1 Mac users. Do they have that app available to download for the M1 Mac? Something for y'all to look into. And we can discuss that. And yes, actually, the question always comes up, can I get Bard books to play on my Mac? Well, actually, believe it or not, there is a way, even if you don't have any fancy setups. And I should see if it works through QuickTime or not, but AirPlay, if your Mac is one of the newer models that supports the AirPlay feature, you can actually use that to play Bard books. So you do still need the phone, but you can use your Mac speaker as an AirPlay device. So that is a way that you can actually hear Bard books on your Mac. And I'm also going to talk about Audible, and if we have time, I will talk a little bit about the Books app that's native to Apple. It's not my favorite because I really don't use iBooks that much, and I get all my audiobooks from Audible, but nevertheless, it is an option, and so I'm going to talk about that in a couple weeks on Apple Bites with Bits. I had originally thought I'd be talking about Mac OS 13 when it comes out. We're still waiting on news for that, but I'm going to wait till November because that'll also give me a chance to be more familiar with its changes and all that too. So, and that's assuming we have it by then, which I think we're on the last beta for the Mac. So that is what we've got coming up for you all. If you have any requests, comments, questions, you want me to go away, I'll consider that too. Maybe.
Dave on the stage. Are you able to hear me?
I absolutely can. Yes.
Yes.
We brought Dave on the stage.
All right, Dan. Dan, he's our man. If he
Dave.
can't do it,
I think it's
no one
Dave.
can.
Dave,
It's
he's
Dave,
saying.
your
Dave.
neighborhood piano
Dave.
player, stoner, a good guy.
Yeah.
Try to be anyway.
All right. Well, I just turned off the loud commercials for now, so now I can hear better. All right, Dave.
Thank you for these rooms. I really wanted to say how much I appreciate what you guys are doing. I hope you have a YouTube channel like Freedom Scientific does. I'm not shilling for them or something. I'm just saying like it would be awesome or something like that for people to Google and just be able to hear you. This is beautiful. I like sharing the club. I like the fact that they're here. I mean, I've been using the Mail app for a while, and I learned a lot of things today. So next, you're going to tell me how to use my studio, which I already have been using for a few years. Actually, Logic Pro is my bread and butter. But thank you for all this on the Mac because it can be hard to find when you just cobble around through the internet to find it. So what you guys are doing here on Clubhouse is absolutely fantastic. I just want to say how much I really, really appreciate it.
All right, I do need to see about putting these demos on YouTube now that I've gotten more reliably to get these things to download. So, because I do have, of course, the replays are on Clubhouse, and so I've not really thought much about do I want to take the time to put these on YouTube, but actually, I think that, I have started to do that. You will find, I do have a playlist called Blind Mac Demos, and so there is some stuff on there. Also, again, if you look for the iBug Today channel and you go to Mac Training, there is a complete training course done by Chanel, who you guys have heard on here. And she will take you through way more in depth than what I do. I'm just trying to give you all a general overview of some of this stuff. Messages is easy enough to do in 1 hour. Mail, I could have done more, like explaining some more settings, shown you like how to get to other mailboxes, folders, stuff like that. There's more I could have done with mail. Showed you walked you through to what it was like to add an account. There's a lot I did not cover, but Chanel does because it's a true training course. And so I highly encourage you to check those out as well. And if you want to be a part of the training course, there is a mailing list, but if you email ibugtoday@gmail.com and ask to be put... What?
No, there's a waiting list, and my
gonna say that
contact
part.
info, you said mailing list. My contact
Waiting
info
list,
is
okay.
on the website, and so people can go to ibugtoday.com, and then they can find my contact info, ibugtoday@gmail.com. They will forward it to me, but if you want to contact me directly, just go to the iBug Today website.
All right, so you have two options there. And I did mean to say waiting list. I know I have mail on the brain, so I do apologize. But yes, I did mean to say waiting list. No, some kind of list. I got done talking about mailing lists earlier, so nobody likes waiting. Unless you're a foreigner, then you've been waiting for a class like this to come into your life. But, I think I got the words mixed up.
You got less than 5 minutes now, Herbie. I don't know if you want
That's
time check.
convenient.
That could be a blessing.
That's convenient. All right. No, Travis is actually doing his job, guys, for the record. It is a little suspicious, though. Okay, do we have any final questions? Thank you, Dave.
I think we've
And,
invited Doug to the stage. I don't know if he's responded. He had his
all right,
hand up.
Doug, come
Doug,
on.
are you there?
Douglas. All right. Well,
He is not on stage yet, and I didn't see any hands, so I.
He was there a little bit ago.
all right.
Swear, unless it was a ghost.
We are near Halloween, so that's possible.
He's
are.
not here now.
Nope, he has left
right.
the building.
All right. Well, sorry we missed you there, Doug, but I know how to find you and you know how to find me, so very good. I will get these, at least the demos, uploaded to YouTube. I haven't decided if I want to upload the general chit chats or not, but they can be helpful. But now that we've actually done at least some more structure to this club, it's definitely worth revisiting the YouTube thing. And I will actually show you how you can upload stuff to YouTube as well. And you are safe, by the way, Dave, on the Logic Pro. I do not use that. I do use Amadeus Pro, and maybe I will do a demo on that at some point. But I'm not into like the music production or whatever, so you are safe from me at least. So I want to thank everybody who came today. Thank you, Brad, for helping out at the last minute. Thank you, Travis.
Always ready.
You're ready. Yep.
Always ready.
You were ready.
No problem.
All right. Chanel, thank you as well. Thank you, Joe, for streaming. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And with that, guys, you may end the respective rooms.
All righty, here we go. Bye-bye.
Bye.